Okay. The time is now 7:42 and the executive session has been concluded. The participants in the executive session were, Ms. Garrett was here and she left, but I'm Phil Rico.
Mike Valentine. Les Downs.
Karen Grego. Aaron Ogletree.
Leroy DeBono.
Wally Wallace.
Rusty Goodall.
Aaron Williams.
For the record of any person who participated in the executive session believes that any substantial discussion of any matters not included in the motion to go into the executive session occurred during the executive session, or that any improper action occurred during the executive session in violation of the open meetings law, I would ask that you state your concerns for the record. Seeing none, the next agenda item is item D1, which is consideration of a waiver reduction of permit fees and utility extension costs for the Trinidad Inn. And council has decided to table the matter at this point. I would ask Ms. Hummingston to contact Mr. Valentine, city manager, for further discussion, because through our discussion we have come up with some items that we feel require.
Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry. Would you rather proceed by way of a motion and have a council member move in 1 second to table the matter? I think that would be clearer for the record. If
Okay,
could,
so just
please.
take a call for the motion then.
Please.
Okay, then I'll call for a motion, please.
Mr. Mayor, at this time, I would make a motion that we table this matter and recommend that more communications between this developer and Mr. Valentine occur, please.
Okay, have a second.
Second.
Okay, call vote, please.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Williamson.
Yes.
Yes. Ms. Hummingston, I'm not sure if you heard all that, but just to let you know that I'd like for you to contact Mr. Valentine for further discussion. Okay, on to item 9, council reports. Start with Mr. Williamson. He's in.
I have none.
Mr. Goodall.
I have none.
Okay, how about who's this? Mr. DeBono?
Well, I guess I could say I've been promoting on all 3 radio stations during the course of the day about the lofts, the leasing and renting of the lofts and the space to create.
Okay,
So,
thank you. Ms. Ogletree?
At your request, I attended a meeting about the Brownfield Grant, the EPA Brownfield Grant, so I can just report back. It was in the newspaper today, but what I learned is that we have currently been working with a coalition with the county and Aguilar on an assessment grant that we got in 2015 for $500,000. That's gone to various projects around Trinidad and other areas, and now we're going to be applying for a new coalition among those party Brownfield Grant in the amount of $600,000 to continue doing additional work around this community. Secondarily, we're seeking a cleanup grant concerning the West Theater to do asbestos and lead paint abatement, and that grant is being prepared by our consultant Carrie Racky of Stantec Consulting. It will be submitted on October 27th, and if awarded, that would happen in October of 2021, and the work would be done in the winter of 21-22. In the meantime, the city received a CDPHE grant of $108,000 for the cleanup of West Theater, so we're going to be beginning work on that in the front area of the building to activate those areas, the lobby and the bathroom, so that we can begin using it. The city is also going to use part of that money to be the matching funds if we are awarded the EPA cleanup grant. Ms. Racky is seeking input from the community about the theater. She explained that the EPA likes public money to go for things that the public wants. So if you have input you should get it to Georgie Clark as soon as possible since the deadline is coming up. But otherwise, there's a draft of the application and the cleanup alternatives on the city's website if you want to know more. That's all I have.
Ms. Grego?
I have been contacted by some residents of Boulevard and Blackwood Avenue. It's, let's see, it would be north of where our development is for the trail and the Boulevard addition. I've had 6 people call me desperate because there's some activity down there that seems like it might be very detrimental to the people that live in that area. So I got the call yesterday. Last night I went and took pictures, and Mike's gonna email you. I emailed Mike the pictures to forward to you all. This is a really precarious situation. These people are, they're desecrating. I mean, you have to look at the pictures and then you'll understand. I can't explain it, how bad it looks. But these people are afraid. There's guns going off, there's generators at night, there's all kinds of commotion. They're so afraid that they don't want me to mention their names in public because they're afraid of the consequences from coming to us. So I would hope that we would urge staff to get on it right away. And in addition to that, I think we need to address code enforcement. This has always been an issue, and I can't understand with that money that we're spending on Boulevard. I mean, you can actually see those bathrooms and what the city's doing from the property that I'm talking about. It's counterproductive for us to spend that kind of money in that area when we've got this kind of activity unchecked. So I'm hoping that in a future work session, we do something about code enforcement. When I talked to those people today, because they called me last week, and I didn't really get to it until yesterday. I had to call and apologize to them because it's so bad. It's really, really bad. The other thing I would like to propose, if council's in agreement, we're talking about traffic in downtown Trinidad. And I'm thinking that we haven't had a traffic study for Trinidad for quite a few years. I've noticed just by personal observation that especially Main Street and Commercial Street from my block of the 300 block and 400 block of North Commercial, the traffic is really starting to slow down there. So I'm asking council for a work session to see if we are in agreement to do a traffic study, and if staff is in agreement with doing the traffic study. Mike said he thinks that the approximate cost might be upwards of $100,000. But I mean, downtown is getting really congested. And we never addressed the parking issues downtown. We kind of made a mention of changing it from a 2-hour parking to a 1 hour and start enforcing parking regulations downtown more. But I think it's time that we need to address that. I mean, we're always working toward development. I think this is the foundation to the development that we need to do. That's it.
Okay. I attended the Action 22 annual meeting a couple of weeks ago, and it said it's just they went over some of the things that are on the ballot issues that we have right now. They talked about that and had people pro and con, kind of a debate type issue on a couple of them. Other people that were there just talked about, you know, some of the ballot issue that that was on there. Ms. Garrett and Ms. Grego and I, we had dinner one evening with the Attorney General, Phil Weiser. It was a pretty nice dinner. We had a good discussion. He was just here to check and see what was going on in Trinidad because he was going to be with college, I guess, the next day. So, but he was coming down the night before and wanted to know if we could have dinner with him, which I asked Miss Gregg to have dinner with me with him, so it was a nice dinner. And I asked Miss Garrett to be with us too, being that Mike, you were out of town. Last week, it was interesting as well, when Mike was gone. We had got a call from a Sebastian Sabron from Radio France, and he came down and interviewed Miss Garrett and I. Spent a good probably hour and a half with him, I guess. But what he was interested in hearing what is happening with the cannabis industry here in Trinidad. And of course, besides the cannabis industry, we tried to throw in some of the other things that we're doing with the Fisher's Peak and the Space to Create project and all this other stuff. So what's going to happen is he's going to go back to France from Paris, and they're going to have like I can't remember if it was an 8 or 10 minute program that he was putting on. They have a listener. He was talking about they have like 3 million listeners. So you know the amount of all the interviews and stuff that I have done, plus the ones that I think some of the council have done. I mean, this has gotten global now. It's not the first time that I've done something that way. I did a magazine interview with the American Legion, and they have a 1 or 2 million people, 1 or 2 million people that they send their magazine out to, and they're national as well as international. So the word of Trinidad is out there now. So just to let you know that we continue to do that. Last week there was a meeting at Walter's Brewery or Walter's place. And there was a couple of presentations that were put on that day about the Purgatory River and some thoughts about some other stuff here in town. It was interesting. One thing that was very interesting, there was a gentleman by Jeff Shoemaker, who is from the Greenway Foundation, about what we could do with the river bottom, which is something that I think that we can focus on to. It would be in addition to, I mean, we've done the Fisher's Peak deal, the Space Creek project, and now I think we can focus on the river. It would be an additional incentive for people who want to come to Trinidad and stick around a little bit more. I also did a follow-up interview with magazine 5280 about the Fisher's Peak project, and of course, we also met with Joyce Huntington on the proposal of the new nursing home. So that's what I've done. City manager reports?
Not too much, Mayor. I just wanted to let council know that because of the influx or the expansion of COVID cases in Trinidad, where they had 16 reported yesterday. Today, I just sent out an email prior to the meeting, 2 more, so we're up to, I believe, 66 cases with 34 active. A meeting has been set up with the health department, the commissioners, and they've invited the city. And I will go there and report back to find out what it's about. And I'll be reporting back to whatever they come up with. The fear is that with the level we're in now, that the governor is going to, the governor through CDC and the health department is going to impose more strict guidelines on their levels for us. So we need to just be informed and.
I don't know, did you get we got notification that the governor has suspended all late fees and all of that on payments again. Is that same with the city?
That is correct.
Yeah.
That is correct. We have implemented that on our utilities and such, so, yes. That's all I have, Mayor.
This COVID-19, it's a very scary situation. Just continue to preach, from my desk here, from where I'm sitting, to the public, anybody that's listening out there, that do what we have to do to keep this thing from spreading if we possibly can. It's very important, because all it's going to do is just continue to blow up on us, and who knows where it goes. Anyway, that's what I'm thinking about. Mr. Downs, do you have anything for us?
No, I don't have anything there. Just that murals will be on the next work session. Next week.
We've heard that.
I know, that's right, but getting close. That's right.
Okay, on to item 11, another executive session. The executive session for discussion of a personnel matter under CRS section 24-6-4022F and not involving any specific employees who have requested discussion of the matter in open session, any member of this body or any elected official, the appointment of any person to fill an office of this body or of any elected official, or personnel policies that do not require the discussion of matters personal to particular employees, city attorney performance review. Motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
Second. Call the vote, please.
Get ready to vote.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Williamson?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, we'll take another few minutes because Mr. Murphy is